The very first time I decided that I want to make homemade samosas, it was with my mom a lot of years ago. And what we couldn't figure out is why our samosas are perfectly golden brown outside, but the pastry is raw, just dough inside. And that is just one of 3 mistakes that we'll cover in this video while making homemade fried samosas. Starting with mistake 1, which is the dough. See, this here is an overhydrated dough, and that usually happens if you are not patient enough as you're adding the water to the flour and it just becomes into sludge. Well, you can still fix it by adding in more flour, but the risk here is the more you knead it, the more gluten you develop, the longer you have to let the samosa dough rest so that it's easier to roll it out into the portions we need to then form the samosa. It just makes so much work. So be patient, add the right amount of water slowly until a dough is formed that is firm, smooth, and rolls thin without resistance. And if you do find there's some resistance, just cover it, let it sit for 15-20 minutes, and then try again. See, this dough here is made up of flour, ajwain or carom seeds, and some clarified butter. And the key over here hydrates the dough and it helps to create a nice golden brown crust. It's almost like a pastry crust. And before you add any water, you want to mix this really well. And do you see how the mixture kind of clumps as you squeeze it? Well, that's what gives the final dough its flakiness and it helps with the golden brown crust. And now you add the water slowly. If you add too much water, you can always adjust with adding a bit more flour. And the dough should be sort of firm. It should not be super soft like a bread dough. If it feels like that, you've gone a bit too far, tighten it up. Then just cover it, let it rest for 30 to 40 minutes. And as you work on preparing the samosa portions, make sure you keep the rest of the dough covered so that it doesn't dry out. And while that rests, something that all of you may not already know about is if you want to keep supporting this channel, yes, you can of course subscribe and hit the like and share, but you can also go on my website that's completely overhauled. You can join the kitchen to get some free perks, and to go the extra mile, well, that's less than a coffee per month. So think about that while we prepare filling. Here's what's in it: some ghee and then some dried spices, and you want to bloom them first. In the meanwhile, I have some potatoes that are cooked. I steam them in the Instant Pot. I'm gonna add that in. I'm gonna add some peas in. I'll leave some chunks in the mixture for some texture. And if you can, make this the day before. It'll just make that the samosa process much easier because it'll be completely cool before it goes in the dough. And if you want to see the whole spice blooming breakdown, well, the full recipe for the filling that you can use in so many different things, not just samosas, is linked down below. Now, to shape the samosas, you can either choose to make small samosas or big ones, and depending on that, divide the dough into equal sized portions. The exact numbers are listed in the full recipe card down below that you can easily scale to your liking. Then roll each portion thin, make sure the remaining dough is covered, and once it's rolled thin without much resistance, cut it in half. Then wet each edge with some water, put some of the filling on one corner of the half circle, and then fold the pastry in half to form a cone. Add some pressure to seal the edges, and then bring the other side across the top to finish shaping the samosa. Press to seal the edges on the bottom and across the top as you make a pointy top. See, when you're air frying this, the risk of having the filling come out of the pastry or the pastry opening up is not as bad. You'll just get some crispy potato. But while deep frying, if the filling comes out, it's gonna cause a whole mess in the oil that you're frying in, but it will also cause the samosa to drink up a bunch of oil, and you'll just have a greasy ball of dough and potatoes that won't be reminiscent of a proper samosa. So press every seal. Mistake number 3, the oil temperature. See, all those years ago when I was making those samosas with my mom and they were turning out perfect outside but raw dough inside, eventually after dozens of bad samosas and frustration, we learned that the oil was just way too hot. What happens then is the outside cooks and it looks perfect, but there's not enough time to cook the dough all the way inside, especially those thick edges that we are sealing. The trick here is to make sure that the oil is not too hot. If you're just using the gauge on your stove, it should be at medium low heat, but if you're using a thermometer, it should be between 300 to 325 Fahrenheit. And always fry a tester, even like a small piece of dough, to test if the oil is at the right temperature. What you don't want is oil that's so hot that when you add the samosa in, it starts bubbling right away. What you don't want on the outside of a samosa crust is a bunch of these little bubbles, because if the oil is too hot, Well, the moisture from the inside tries to escape really quickly, which causes all these bubbles and grooves on the outside. What you want instead is, at the right temperature, the samosas should gently bubble. They should eventually and gradually become golden brown, which gives enough time to create a crust outside that just shatters when you crack into it, and inside that's perfectly cooked. So low and slow, keep turning them, and you'll see them deepen in color eventually. And on the other hand, if the oil is too cold, then there's just no point. You're just like kind of marinating it in oil. You see what happens when I put this in. It just does nothing. What it'll cause instead is have the dough absorb a lot of that oil inside. It'll get hydrated, maybe even super hydrated with the oil. And if a greasy ball of potatoes is what you're going for, then go for it. See this over here? This is what you get when you go low and slow. Once you are done deep frying, then go ahead and drain them on a rack. Let all the excess oil drip off, and use a rack, not newspapers or paper towels, because that's gonna cause steam to be trapped between the base of samosa and whatever surface you have it on, which will cause the bottoms to turn soft because of condensation. You want it all to stay crispy, so raise the samosas as they drip the oil. And look at that, it shatters. It's cooked all the way through, not a drop of extra grease. Now this samosa definitely beats the air fryer one, but I love the air fryer one because I can have so much more of it. So if you want more samosas with way less oil, then check out my air fryer version of this awesome recipe. I'll see you on the next one.